The members of all-girl punk band Pussy Riot finally discovered their fate today, with a Moscow judge set to deliver a verdict in their trial. The trio face up to 3 years behind bars on hooliganism charges for their controversial performance in Russia's main cathedral. RT's Peter Oliver is outside the courthouse. So, Peter, the moment of truth is approaching.
Well, that's right. We've entered the end game of a trial which has gripped headlines not only here in Russia, but around the world. The three members of the feminine punk collective Pussy Riot face 3 years in jail each for taking part in a demonstration inside Russia's main cathedral. Now, that demonstration took the form of a so-called punk rock prayer in which they called on the Virgin Mary to rid Russia of Vladimir Putin. Now, later on Friday, the judge will deliver a verdict at 3 p.m. Moscow time, and we can also see a sentence handed down as well on the charges of hooliganism motivated by religious hatred. Now, it's worth noting that the judge in this trial has been given bodyguards as a precaution for her own safety. Now, this goes back to an incident in April of this year in which a previous judge that was involved in this case was threatened in her office by a man with an axe, saying that he wanted the three women on trial released. So these bodyguards have been assigned to the current judge as a precautionary measure. Now, this is a cold case which has split opinions so widely here in Russia, and to find out a little bit more about that, my colleague Marina looked at some of the background on this case.
It was a prayer directed at Virgin Mary, but it was heard all around the world. Pussy Riot's performance at the Christ the Savior Cathedral outraged some, invigorated others, and left almost no one indifferent. Along with the patriarch of Russia, who condemned the flash mob, thousands of Orthodox believers, especially of the radical kind, were just short of demanding the women be burned at stake.
It was blasphemy, a desecration of a church. It was sacrilege. I think they belong to some sect which conducts satanic rituals.
But their supporters see them differently. To the defendants, their lawyers, and hundreds of supporters, the dancing and singing was an artistic way to express the women's disagreement with the government, particularly with President Putin. That's why they say the women ended up on trial and on trend.
Free Pussy Riot.
Madonna, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, Sting, Franz Ferdinand, just some of the celebrities who have voiced their support for Punk Collective. Despite a very limited number of seats inside the courthouse, even a member of British Parliament managed to get in, to observe and make her own judgment.
Obviously, some people with religious sensibilities might be offended by that, but I don't think that they meant it to offend religious people. They saw it more as a performance space. They saw it as an art thing that they were doing.
As part of the art group Vaina, which translates from Russian as war, this wasn't the first time Pussy Riot has attracted attention. Nadezhda Tolokonnikova participated in one of the group's performances, an orgy in Moscow's Biology Museum, just 4 days before giving birth. Yekaterina Samutsevich is said to be the woman seen here, performing a sex act with a frozen chicken in a supermarket. Both incidents were also meant to be forms of political protest, but neither were followed up with arrests.
The actions of Pussy Riot were immoral. Initially, they were forgiven for their first attempts of disturbance. I mean the museum, the incident in the supermarket, and so forth. Now, we just want this to end, but we don't want them to go to jail.
A proposal from Playboy for a cover photo shoot, an offer to perform along with Björk from the singer herself, and a contract with a record company who believe Pussy Riot are now worth tens of millions of dollars. These are just some of the offers which the group has received in a week leading up to the verdict. So, if their goal was to be heard and to become famous, then it's safe to say that Pussy Riot's prayers have been answered. In Moscow, Irina Galushko, RT.